So God gives us a form of government. And after government, now, after government, we got Babel, and the whole world is spread out. Okay, and now you got all these individual countries now for the first time. First, it's a whole world, whole world. So now the world's separate. So what God does is He brings, and now the whole world is the whole world's separate and wicked. So now He brings the whole world together by choosing chosen people.
How does that bring the whole world together?
Because
I know He chooses a people.
Places them literally in the center of the world. They're the crossroads of everything that takes place, Jerusalem. Okay. And they're to attract the world to God.
Right.
Through, guess what? Their laws. Okay? Just as it happened here, now it happens here. Now God gives them a set of new laws, and that is what makes them unique and distinct of all the peoples of the world. They have laws to live by. It helps them with their sanitation, helps them with their foods, helps them with their clothing, it helps them with purity, it helps them with everything. And the whole world sees them prospering, and so they prosper because of a set of laws. Any nation in the world will prosper because of laws. All the third world countries, they're where they are today because they have no laws. Yeah. Okay, so now they sin, and so God sets them aside, and now God brings the church. And what does the church have? A set of laws that set us free. So these laws bring freedom. These laws actually brought death. They couldn't keep the laws without the Spirit of God living in them. The Spirit of God was really outside of them. Right. So now we've got the Spirit outside. Now we got the Spirit inside. But even with the Spirit inside, the church sins, and the church goes bad as well. And so what God does now is He is going to dispensationally, and I would.
What's that mean? What's the word mean?
To dispense.
Okay.
Okay. God is dispensing these different things at different times. Now God says, "Okay, got to take you out." So rapture occurs, and now chosen people get to fulfill their original. Now this time, Spirit is in them. And now they, through great suffering and tribulation, are going to preach to the world. It's the last step. And you got the two witnesses.
How about like more the Jews coming back?
Well, this is it. This is it.
That's who these people are?
Yeah, they're 144,000 Jews. They're the missionaries during the tribulation period. And they are going to preach to the whole world during this time. And the first two are the two witnesses in Revelation chapter 11.
If all the Christians or all the believers are raptured, where did these first new ones get their teaching
They
from?
probably were saved already during the church age, and so they don't get raptured. They stay behind, so that they could be the chosen preachers.
How do you know which ones get raptured and which ones don't? I thought all believers got raptured.
All believers get raptured except for these 144,000 Jews, and so there's probably only 144,000 Jews that are left on the earth during that time. So there aren't many Jews saved today.
Right.
And so when the Jews reach 144,000, church is gone, they stay.
When there's 144,000 believing Jews, that's when...
12,000 from each tribe. And they've only got really 3.5 years to get it done. And the power of the two witnesses is how it all starts. They're on national television, according to Revelation 11. The whole world sees them, it says. And they get killed. After they breathe out fire and they bring destruction upon the earth, everyone's afraid of them. Then they get killed, and the whole world sees the dead body. Oh, he's taping this.
The whole world rejoices, right?
The whole world rejoices.
How come you told Skip you were Reformed?
Because even though I believe in the rapture of the church, I have this escape clause that if it doesn't happen, I'm fine with it.
And you told me you were a 20-point Calvinist.
That means that I really don't have a number on. You know, there's guys that are 4-point Calvinist and 5-point Calvinist. I'd rather not put God in a box. And for example,
I know, but we have to have a way of like explaining what we believe. I guess that's
we do.
That's why this has a label.
Yeah, and that's why
that's why Reformed has a label. That's why we come up with these labels because, And
there's probably flaws in all of the labels.
Absolutely.
That's where biblical.
And there's even people within dispensationalism that disagree with each other.
Right.
People within Reformed. I understand. If you read Piper's stuff, he has certain things he believes in dispensationalism, certain things he believes from Reformed, and others from New Covenant theology.
And I'm the same way. And what's beautiful about not taking this wholesale is that if we would just study the Bible in its whole and see the beauty of the Scriptures, like learn what God has for us today and enjoy that. In Matthew 25, I think it says, he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved, or the same shall be delivered. And I think that's the most important part, is that we endure the life that God has given us to endure, to live it to its fullest for God's glory, so that no matter what happens in the future, we're not going to be like, this is not what I thought was supposed to happen here, and your faith gets shaken.
Right.
I
mean, that's what happened to the Jews with Messiah.
That's right.
They like.
That's right.
Okay, so you would say that God has two people.
Yeah, but in the end it says that they're going to be grafted together.
But doesn't it say, is it Romans 11 about them being...
Grafted together?
Well, that's about the Gentiles being grafted into the olive tree of Israel.
Yeah, and also about God will save who he wants to, that, Jacob, if I love you.
Well, like how do you take that olive tree and the Gentiles being grafted in? They're being grafted into Israel, so how are there two people?
Today there's only one people, the church.
Yeah, but I mean...
Both Jews and Gentiles. But the predominantly Gentile church is going to be raptured out, taken out, which will then leave a void on the earth. That's why it says that God will send them strong delusion. Whatever, in Thessalonians it says God will send the earth strong delusion. Those who had heard the gospel, those who had heard the truth, but now they shall believe a lie. That's the only reason. It says that he that restrains will restrain. Okay? There's going to be a restraining force on the earth. The restraining force is the Holy Spirit that lives inside of God's people. Okay? That's what's restraining evil right now. Once that restraining force is gone, all hell breaks loose. And the only ones that will be here during that time to help will be the 144,000 missionary Jews.
I mean, how come there's so many places in New Testament that refer to the church with names that he called Israel, like a nation, a people, we are the circumcision. Like
we are today.
Right, so...
Yes, and in all of those respects, the church is kind of like the Israel today, but it's the church. We're God's chosen people today.
Like Ben has clearly said to me that God has two people. And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
God has two people? Well,
yeah, Israel and the church.
That's true. That's true. I mean, the church
How
is not...
are they not one? To me, God has a people.
Today, it's a people. But
even
the dispensation...
even in the Old Testament, Gentiles were able to be part of Israel.
But they were...
And not all Israel is Israel.
Okay, but leave that aside for now. When a Gentile came and became part of the Jewish nation, they gave up their Gentile heritage. If you think about it, Abraham was a Gentile.
Of course.
So when you became a Jew, and you lived in the Jewish nation, you left all that you had behind you, and now you came and lived as a Jew. You became a Jew, okay? So today, as the church, a Jew
would become
a Christian.
Of course.
So Christians are just one today.
Right.
I think
But I still see it as all like God's people, one, his elect. Whether you were Old Testament Jew or a New Testament Christian, you're God's elect.
That's right. That's right. So
that's how I see it.
I think what's confusing you is the two people idea.
Yeah, it
But
really
when the church is gone, it goes back to Israel.
I just think it's like a time when, in the future, that God's going to bring many Jews back to himself. That's going to happen. Okay, talk about the land. That's the other thing. the land. The
Yeah.
promise of the land's a big thing.
Yeah, and everything, well, right now, of course, the church does not have anything to do with the land of Israel, but the land of Israel is going to be redeemed again. That's where everything takes place in the end times. The Armageddon takes place in Israel. That's where the New Jerusalem comes out of heaven down to the new mountain, the New Jerusalem. You know, and I don't know what it's going to be like, and I don't even know if that is going to be after, if that's going to be on the new earth, or if that's going to be during the millennial period. I think during the millennial period, where the whole earth will be able to see this mountain with New Jerusalem at the top, and people will be able to go up to it. You know, it's going to be an amazing time. Can't wait to get there. Okay.